are looking at the start of the second final of the day, the women's senior 4. So that's a straight 4. Just arriving at the starting gates now. It looks like actually we got a little bit of a wave there from St. Catharines crew.
That's fitting as we are about to introduce them. So in lane 2, obviously closest to us, that is the St. Catharines, the local crew here, with Lauren Gadsden in bow, Anna Maloney in 2-seat, Amanda Martin in seat 3, and Stephanie Mauder in stroke seat.
For sure. And then we've got lane 3 backing into the gates in the darker boat there. That's Resilient. That's Shannon Haynes sitting in bow. Molly Pasacantado in 2-seat. Emma Barrett in in 3-seat, and Casey Martin sitting in stroke.
Lanes and seats. I mean, we're both making that mistake, Allie. That's okay. Lane 4 is Calgary Rowing Club of Anna Curry, Kendra Hartley, Olivia McMurray, and Emily Schumacher.
Lane 5, University of British Columbia, that's Michaela Ashley, Taylor McCurlick, Laura Marr, and Madison Obravek.
Lane 6, Vesper, coming up from Philadelphia. They've had a really strong women's showing so far this week. Golgia, Gabriella, Adriana, and Sabrina in stroke.
And on the far side, we have Henderson, that's Shannon McGarty, Rose Flanagan, Samantha Fisher, and Caitlin Carlisle.
I am interested to see how this plays out. I believe, I could be wrong, I believe the UBC crew is largely a novice crew. I could be mistaken, but I know they did have a women's straight forward training through the summer that was largely from their novice and I think junior development team from last year. So they're probably athletes that are looking to make that varsity team in the fall.
For sure. They've got lots of experience, and their coach, Zoe Fedigwin. Zoe raced at the Under-23 World Championships in 2014 for Canada. So lots of experience on her end. I'm sure she's looking to develop her athletes for the fall as well.
Mm-hmm. And of course, quite the, when we're talking about experience, looking at the St. Catharines program, or the St. Catharines crew closest to us, Stephanie Mauder, she's been rowing locally for, I think, well over a decade, whereas looking at someone in bow, so just the opposite end, Stephanie, this is the boat closest to the camera, Stephanie on the right-hand side, Lauren in the bow. She's just finished her first year at the University of Western Ontario.
And they are off, absolutely. You can see the sterns as they go right across. Everybody getting out of the gates pretty much the same speed. And in that first 500 meters, each crew looking to separate themselves, try and get a little bit of an edge and get ahead by bumping up that stroke rate and getting their boat moving as fast as possible.
It did look like the conditions were a lot bumpier than I actually expected up there at the start, so it does seem to be a bit of a headwind.
A little bit choppy for sure, nothing that these athletes can't handle. We can see on the umpire boat closest to us a little bit of a course correction perhaps from the umpire for both Calgary and it looks like perhaps even St. Catharines?
Or Resilient
yeah.
perhaps. You can see also the far side, the umpire doing a little bit of steering. This is, of course, a straight 4. There are no coxies, so it'll be likely either the stroke seat or the bow seat will have some wiring attached to their rudder, attached to their shoe. So it'll be up to those athletes, whether they are in the bow or the stern, to just pay attention, not necessarily looking out, but paying attention to where they are, making sure the buoys on the left and the right side of their port and their starboard oars are just, you want to try and stay right in the middle of that lane.
Steering for sure something the bow person's going to have to contend with, keeping an eye on their course. But this is going to be full tilt racing. This is a senior women's event. There's lots of experience with some of these athletes. Particularly, I know Calgary probably looking to repeat. They won this event last year.
Calgary, of course, as much as Vesper's been doing really well this year, Calgary, the senior women's program, have been doing well for a number of years.
You can see in that shot as we pan through at the 500, Resilient has their blades over top of the buoy line. They're almost rowing into lane 2, which is St. Catharines area, so maybe a little blade clashing. I hope not.
Hopefully not, and of course that's what the umpires are really there for. They're not, I think particularly with a senior event like this, they're not going to help the athletes necessarily keep their straightest course, but what the umpires are going to be doing is making sure that they're not impeding on the other crews or interfering with the other crews, making sure everyone, so to speak, stays in their own water and literally stays in their own lane.
Good shot there. You can kind of see it looks like Vesper's having a pretty strong race. Vesper, of course, coached by Katie Lane. Katie works with the University of Pennsylvania. She spent a few weeks up in London with myself and the other coaches in London, Ontario, shadowing, doing a little externship. So she was also featured in a coaching education article in Row 360 magazine last month.
That is really interesting. You know, I think the idea of visiting coach is a really good opportunity to learn. Even just getting to hear, as much as, you know, I think some athletes will respond to the same concept, but hearing it from a different voice, I think the same thing can be said for coaches, being able to have that back and forth with another coach and see, you know, here's what I see. How would you describe that? How would you ask those athletes to make that correction?
For sure. It looks like Katie's done a lot of work with these young women. They are having a very strong showing here. It looks like Calgary and Vesper certainly battling it out as we pan through at the 1,000-meter mark, halfway through the race. The Vesper boat looks like they've got what we would call a bucket rig, where you've got two athletes who row on the same side, you know, one seat behind the other. Let's see who's going to take it here at the 1,000.
I think it's just Calgary slightly ahead, not by a lot. If I'm just looking at their stroke rate,
certainly looks like Calgary, but there's definitely an overlap of bow to stern, rather, between Calgary taking it just over top of Vesper,
yeah.
and the rest of the crew is coming through our screen just about now.
Yeah, and you know what? I was checking out their stroke rate. Vesper trying to look, I think, work a little bit harder, trying to catch up, trying to close that gap. Vesper, I clocked them at about 36 strokes per minute, whereas Calgary were about 34 and a half. So just that little bit of effort, a little bit of tapping it along out of Vesper, trying to close that gap and not let Calgary walk away from them.
Calgary, a lot of experience in that crew as well. Anna Curry rowing for Carleton University. She raced at FISU in 2016. That's the World University Championships for Canada. Olivia raced actually at the Commonwealth Games in 2014. So there's some international experience in that crew as well. And we know that they last summer went over to Henley Royal Regatta in the UK.
Yeah, it does look to still be, and again, this angle can be very deceiving, but it looks like as they're crossing the 1250 mark, Calgary just looking to maintain their lead over Vesper, but the two crews, Vesper and Calgary, really walking away from the rest of the field and pushing the rest of the crews back, making it just a battle really for first place.
For sure, and you know, even to make this final is quite an exciting event. There's lots of experience in the other crews as well. I know Steph Mauder, for example, raced for Canada at the World University Games in 2015 in the women's double. She's got 4 Henley Gold medals, so she's no stranger to competition as well. I'm sure she's looking to develop some of those younger athletes who are racing behind her. Lauren Gadsden, Anna Maloney, and Amanda Martin, who all raced at the 2017 Canada Summer Games.
Yeah, and we just see crossing the 1,500 meter mark. So as they enter that final quarter of the race, Calgary has opened up on Vesper. So they do have a little bit of open water from their stern until the start of the bow of Vesper. That just goes to show that their lower rate, they're perhaps a little more calm and composed, maybe have that little stronger base level fitness that they're able to rely on through the body of the race.
They certainly look very strong. We're looking at a camera from the finish line now. You can see that pretty distinct color change in the buoys, where it goes from yellow to red. The athletes don't even need to look out of the boat as they watch the buoys go by. They know that means 250 meters to go. They would have started their finish sprint well before that, but that certainly is an indication it's time to put your foot on the gas, empty the tank a little bit, and the finish line really and truly is just strokes away at that point.
To my eye, it does look like the Calgary boat, they're really doing a good job coming together at the finish, sitting in the center. I think there's just a little bit more body movement. You were talking with the Argentina crew before, how calm their bodies looked during the drive and particularly during the recovery. I think Calgary's trying to do that a little bit better and executing that a little bit better than what we're seeing out of the Vesper crew as they try to take the rate up and try and close that gap.
I'm doing a little bit of counting buoys here just to see, but it does look like Vesper is having a pretty strong charge for the finish. It just comes down to real estate. Are they going to have enough space to outsprint Calgary? Let's watch as we come through the finish here. This is getting really exciting, Brent.
You know, it looks to me like Calgary is pushing up now. They're feeling the push from Vesper. They are going up in their rate, just not really paying perhaps too much attention to steering as they do overlap those buoys, but they are going to cross the finish line first. So short of some protests or anything else, that does look to be Calgary's win in the senior women's 8.
Senior women's straight for their Brent, repeating their win from last year. These women are racing for of course, the Eddie Durnan Memorial Trophy, and Eddie was Canada's last professional sculler of note. He was a nephew of Ned Hanlon.
Interesting.
A big congratulations to Anna, Kendra, Olivia, and Emily from Calgary Rowing Club.